Hey guys, welcome to our December compilation video. For the new guys, recent subscribers, this is a video we do once a month. You may have seen them if you've gone back and looked through our channel. That we put out a video that covers everything that we expect to be released in the month. Of course, again, December 2015. We have a full slate, Notebook of Knowledge time, look at all that writing. A full slate of kits from both all of the major foreign and domestic manufacturers. A few things have been added in the last couple of days, so I'm glad I actually held off till the, the morning of the 2nd here to film this, because we got a few more things, put in here that we may not have gotten had I done this exactly on the 1st. So we always start on the domestic side of things, so the people who don't care what goes on outside the United States can tap out of the video early. On the domestic side of things, we have the announcement we just made on the staff report last Friday, and that being the Mobius 1961 Pontiac Ventura kit is going to be out in a couple of weeks, probably about 10 to 14 days at this point. If you belong to certain forums, certain places on Facebook, you may have seen early release kits floating around. The kit itself is not actually out for general retail yet, but the people who were involved in the development of the kit, did box art builds and various consulting, they got advanced copies. Magazine review people got their advanced copies. So, what Mobius tends to do, if you've not followed them real closely, is usually about the same time that the kits ship over from on the boat, so to speak, for mass retail, they'll pull 10, 12, 15, how many ever they're going to send out, and mail those over to the people here in the United States. And that thing's going to take a couple weeks for those to get over here, but they're going to beat the boat by another couple of weeks. So if you've seen pictures of them floating around, you know what to expect as far as the kit goes, because at least Tim Boyd has done a complete photo thing on it, like he tends to do with new releases. The kit itself looks pretty good. The only thing I really find disturbing at this point is in 2016, we're still attaching things to the Chrome runners the way that we are here in the United States. If you build a lot of import kits, if you happen to get one of the Mercedes-Benz 300 SLs that they did this year, you know that all of the Chrome trim and wheels and all those sorts of things on Japanese kits, the runner attachment points are actually on the bottom or the back side, depending on how you want to look at things. Because it's on the back, or if you're holding the runner just flat, it's on the bottom of the parts, which then lets you take a sprue cutter and cut the attachment point off from the back, and then you are not screwing up the chrome plating itself. And the Mobius kit, while it looks great, the one thing I noticed that was really glaring about it, at least to me, was the fact that the bumpers, the door handles, the wipers, all the trim pieces and everything are still being attached directly to the part itself. And to me, especially when these kits are on a general retail basis approaching $30, I mean, if you're going to buy them through a kit vendor who, does a lot of show things like I tend to do, you're going to get it for $25, $24, $50, $25, somewhere in that range. But on the shelf, it's going to be like a $30 model kit, and we're still attaching things like it's 1960, and, it frustrates me to no end, and it makes me really, I buy the kit and I look it over, and then it goes on the shelf because it's just, I know that I'm going to have to clean up all of the attachment points and clean up, try to either touch the chrome up or bare metal foil it, or God forbid strip it and all clad it, or strip it and send it out to be re-chromed, because a lot of these, of course, I haven't, seen it in person, so I can't say that this exists, but you have these kits, they exist, where there are mold lines in the bumpers underneath the chrome and all sorts of things like that. So that, be that as it may, it looks like a really nice kit. They fixed a number of the really glaring issues that the test shot had, so 2 thumbs up to Mobius for that. But like I said, that kit will be out here in a couple of weeks. On the Revell side of things, they're going to be doing the official USA reboxing of the Porsche 918 Spyder. This is, of course, the exact same kit as the Revell of Germany kit, just taken, chopped up into pieces, and crunched into one of our small boxes. Now, I know a lot of people are very excited about these kits in the sense that they're cheap bastards. No offense, pardon the French, but that's the way things are. This kit's going to probably, retail for in the same price of any regular Revell kit, which is somewhere between $5 and $9, less than the Revell of Germany boxing, depending on, again, where you purchase your kits. guys know that if you don't buy a lot of Revell of Germany Reeboks kits, and you would have these if you bought a lot of the Ferrari kits of the last decade, they're warped messes for the most part. Now, the Volkswagen Beetle that they made us buy through Revell of US, because that was right after Habaco bought Revell of Germany, and they were toying with the idea of not actually importing the kits here anymore. So you had to buy them through Revell, domestically. That one wasn't a problem because of the nature of the kit. It's a round body, and it's very compact, and the chassis is not a thin aerodynamic plate. It's a rather robust, chassis and stuff like that. So that one didn't have the warping issues, but the Ferraris, things that are, you're starting to talk about very flat surfaces, all of the diffuser plates and engine panels and all that kind of stuff. They're just a mess. I have, like 9 of them, and all 9 of my Ferraris have some sort of issue with a warp in them that the subsequent Ferraris I have bought through Revell of Germany have not. And to me, the frustration of trying to order a part through Revell US, which then has to go to Germany through the factory in Poland, and it takes almost a month to get your replacement parts. I mean, you'll get them, but it's going to take a month to get them. And, it's just so much easier to spend the extra couple of bucks and get it factory fresh the way it's supposed to come and just be done with it. Your mileage may vary, but that's just my opinion on that. The other 2 kits that Revell's putting out for the month of December are the 2 Team Penske Ford Fusion Snap-Tight NASCAR kits. They are the Blue Deuce Brad Keselowski car and the number 22 that Joey Logano drives, the sponsor of which escapes my memory at the moment, but it's not really relevant. Those kits are going to, they're level 2 Snap-Tight kits, Snap-Tight Max. I don't know what this means because I'm looking at the Revell website and they're telling me the thing has 35 parts. That's somewhere about 20 parts short of a regular Revell Snap-Tight kit. Like the Ford Raptor is up around 50. I don't know. I have no interest in the Snap-Tight kits in general. You may, talk to me again, in a couple of months, in a year and a half, when the full detail glue kits that they claim are going to come out. And I know it's sort of one of those things where a lot of people are sort of scared that you'll spite your nose, spite your nose to spite, or cut your nose to spite your face thing. I don't have any desire to buy these Snap-Tight kits because they're not, kits. They're just toys, basically. Again, they are not going to be pre-decaled, but they will be pre-painted. And from what I understand, the decals are going to be the typical vinyl sticker affair that you get with most Snap-Tight kits that Revell does, which is not an issue because simply there's so many aftermarket decals for the kits that you can easily and quickly find the new decals in Waterslide, and you're going to need them anyway to build Brad Keselowski's car unless you don't want to have the Miller Lite sponsorship that the car has, because it's just going to say the Blue Deuce on it. It's much like all of the late 90s, or I should say late 80s through the 90s, NASCAR kits, where unless you bought those special editions that were supposed to be collectible adult collectibles that then had, adult sponsorships like beer and tobacco and firearms, the general kits that come out to mass retailers, they're not going to have, that kind of thing. So again, there's no beer sponsorship on Brad Keselowski's car, so you were already hunting for decals anyway. Don't necessarily need my car to be pre-painted or, whatever for me. Just, it doesn't need to be that way. So, I'm not going to be getting the Snap-Tight kits of this. I'm not going to be getting the Snap-Tight kits of the Chevy either. We get to the glue kits, we'll take a look at what they are, and, go from there. That could just be, unpainted versions with real decals, and we'll just and we'll just assume that all new kits will never be full detail again. Of course, that's the sort of pessimistic outlook on that. We'll hope they're really full detail model kits when that time comes around. Okay, and then the big chunk of things here from the domestic side of things are what round 2 is going to be spending your money for Christmas. They're going to be doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 kits for the month of December. Several of these just got added in the last couple of days. On the MPC side of things, they're going to be doing a couple of these we've already talked about in a previous video, so I'm going to go through them real quick. I'll spend more time on the new ones. Going to be reissuing the 1967 Dodge Charger in the 1970s Street Machine boxing. They're going to be retooling the 5-spoke mags for that. You get pad-printed polyglass GTF 6015s on the front, some cheater slicks out back. You get reproductions of the 1970s decals and the 1970s box. You can't build this thing as a stock 67 Charger because it's in the Street Machine format, but then again, the Revell kit's probably a better option for that anyway. Reissue of the Soapy Sales Dodge Challenger Funny Car. You get pad-printed slicks. The option to display it with either open or closed parachutes, and again, vintage box, vintage decals. And then the thing they just added here in the last couple of days is they're going to be reissuing the 1960 Chevrolet Corvette 6-in-1. Yeah, you heard me right. I said 6-in-1. Apparently, you can build this one of 6 different build variations. They're going to be including pad-printed Blue Streak drag slicks, 3 engines, 3 tops, and 3 wheel options, along with several hoods. You can build this thing pretty much anything from factory stock to like a full-blown drag car. It's got the factory engine in it. It's got some sort of blown engine in it. I'm not sure what the third engine option is. There's factory wheels. There's like a Street Machine custom wheels. There's the drag wheels. And then the tops? You just got the straight like a convertible boot. You got or a complete lack of a top in general. You have a hard top, and then you have a sort of a speedster Targa. Well, not Targa because that's half a roof, but a speedster sort of thing for the drag version. Over on the AMT side of things, they're going to be reissuing the 1950 Ford convertible. That's going to be a 3-in-1. This has been backdated to the second release of it in the late 1960s, which includes the newly retooled gasser, air quotes, front suspension. You get expanded decal sheet, and it's going to have the silent box art, which is what AMT calls the box art, where it's just blank on the front with just the picture of the car, and then the side panels will have all of the information. This is the same box art they've been using with like the 37 Chevy. I believe the 36 Ford was the same way. Then, of course, the flame out show rod. The kit's going to be molded in Firebomb red, and it's going to be one of the Catch the Cat things. So one out of every case is going to become to you in 4-alarm translucent metallic red. Pad-printed gumball tires, expanded decals. Like I said, they're going to be 2 times the size of the original decal sheet. Comes with a die-cut display box with a backdrop, and, of course, got the vintage box art. The Dioria custom pickup truck. They've retooled the bubble window bed cover, and it comes with the roof panels that it always did. You get the option of smoke-tinted windows. You got pad-printed Firestones with pinstriping. You get expanded decals with the wood grain if you're going to build the actual legitimate Dioria pickup truck. And then, of course, once again, we got vintage box art. Now, 2 new things here that have been added. One is the confirmation that December will be the month you get your Volkswagen Sirocco back. This is the old Matchbox Lesney tool from the late 70s, early 80s. You can build that as a 2-in-1. It's just a factory stock car, or sort of a I'm trying to think, I was say Group C, but that's probably not the right division. But it's sort of a European road racing theme. It's not really a race car per se, but it's flares and a spoiler and a roll cage and all sorts of racing type things. And then they're going to have optional smoke windows with that. It's going to have the original 1970s box art with it. And then they're also going to be doing the Jim Cushman Plymouth Duster late model sportsman short track car. What's really going to be kind of interesting about this is they have managed to make the decision to go back and restore and or retool all of the missing parts from the kit. I don't know whatever happened to it back in let's see, I'm trying to think when this is going to be here. 1976 is when it came out the last time. I don't know what happened to it after 1976 to be able to tell you like why the parts were missing in the first place, but apparently a bunch of the parts were missing. That's why it never was reissued. They're going to retool all the parts. You get expanded full decals. I guess the original issue of this only had like partial stripes. You get the whole shebang, the vintage box art, mini box, all that stuff like that. And what they're saying is this will be the first time that you can build it the way it came originally in 39 years. This, my friends, is what round 2 should really be focusing their energy on, in my opinion. I don't know that I'd really go out and buy one anyway, but it's these kits that they sort of resurrect or find the tooling gated off on the back of some other tool that they didn't realize it was there, or whatever the case may be. In this case, obviously, they're retooling a bunch of the missing parts to, reissue something that really is honestly vintage, and hasn't been out for a while. Some of these the goofy things where they're reissuing, kits that were just out in different boxes and stuff like that. Take it or leave it. Okay, that moves us over into the other side of the world. One reissue or one new kit to talk about out of Europe. That would be Heller, the Citroen Mahari. That's the weird little sport utility vehicle-ish thing from the 1960s that was like ABS plastic over like a aluminum frame that was bolted to a Citroen de Hail chassis. It's a really interesting little pre-Humvee type of thing. That is going to be coming out the week of Christmas. We got confirmation of that today. The Citroen Fourgon van, I'm trying to think how they have that. It's like Type HY, and the HY is like the heavy-duty chassis. That kit is actually out. We'll talk more about that on Friday as I find out more information about it, but I was... follow Heller's website or Heller's Facebook page, and they put out that they're going to have this up for pre-order. So I went over and looked at it, and I was looking at other new kits that they have out, and the Fourgon is actually out already. That's the weird corrugated metal bread box on wheels. So that's kind of interesting. I have not seen that kit actually in stock anywhere other than directly through Heller's website. And I have an email into them because I'm kind of curious of my own volition to see whether or not we can order them here in the United States from Heller directly, because when you look at a lot of the information about how to order, it talks about how to, shipping things in France through the 5 metropolitan areas of around Paris, but it doesn't say anything about, selling outside the country. All the transactions are in euros, but that's not a big deal because they take PayPal, which will just do all that conversion and stuff for you. So I'm interested to see what the answer to that's going to be. Over in Japan, the big kit, well, it's not really a big kit, it's not full detail or anything like that, but the big fall kit for Tamiya, of course, going to be the 2016 Mazda MX-5 Roadster. This kit does come with, as we've talked about numerous times now, it does come with both right and left-hand drive, so you can build this U.S. spec. Interestingly enough, they're going to include the decals to build this as a JDM car, a Asian export, a European export, or a U.S. export. So you can, technically, allegedly, there will be enough markings to do it pretty much anywhere you happen to live. You can build the new Mazda Roadster to fit your locale. So that's going to be cool. I've seen some of the built-ups of it on Tamiya's website. It looks really good. It's not like I said, it's not a full detail kit, but it certainly has quite a bit of chassis detailing to it. It comes with a female driver figure, if that sort of thing sort of floats your boat. That'd be one of those things that just gets cut up and put into the parts pile, like the male figure out of the Toyota AA did. But, for some people, that'd be cool. Fujimi, very limited in December. There, of course, the Daihatsu Midget Easy kit, the one that's molded in color and has decals and stickers for all the things you'd have to paint. That can push back into December. The Mitsubishi Fuso dump truck, we'll talk about that on Friday. So that's not a delayed kit anymore. And then the other kit for December, automotive speaking, that Fujimi has, automotive, quote unquote, is the 007, The Spy Who Loved Me, a Lotus Esprit submarine. Again, that can only be built in the submarine format at this time. That looks like a neat little conversation piece kit anyway, just from seeing some of the pre-production photos that Fujimi's provided. But, as of right now, there's no, it doesn't convert from a boat to a sub, and it's not, either there are no, hidden parts with it as far as we know, just a boat display at the moment. So we have to see if that does turn into a car at some point in the future. Hasegawa is doing a reissue of the BMW 318i British Touring Car Championship Team Schnitzer car. They're also reissuing, in the sense of just sort of restocking, the 1971 Toyota Celica racing configuration, the Lamborghini Jota SCV, the 1967 Volkswagen 23-window Samba bus, and the 1967 Volkswagen Type 2 panel van. Over on the Aoshima side of things, they're going to be reissuing the Nissan Cedric Standard 400 Toyota Metropolitan Police Car, the Lamborghini Murcielago Super Veloce, the Subaru Sambar pickup truck in the World Rally Blue limited edition format, the Subaru Sambar panel van in the Japan Post version, and the Liberty Walk Nissan Laurel, which, like we said last week, is the fifth kit. If you're going to go research what kit that is, then you put Liberty Walk into either Hobby Search or Hobby Link Japan. Just look for the number 5 Liberty Walk kit, and that'll be what it is. And then the new-ish, most of these are just, sort of parts put into a kit to make a new kit type of deal. The new kits that are from the All Japan Toy and Hobby Show that they're going to be coming out in December are the FD3S RX-7 Type 4 police car, the Nissan SEMA Y31 Early Edition Impal VIP car, the Toyota Crown K-Brake Hyper Zero Custom Version 2 VIP car, and the Lamborghini Aventador pre-paints, and that's going to be white pearl, orange pearl, and a limited edition overseas, which means you can only buy it outside of Japan. You should not, technically speaking, be able to buy this kit through either Hobby Link Japan or Hobby Search. You'd have to go through Hong Kong, Macau, Singapore, or a United States vendor or European vendor, and that one will be molded in matte black, or molded painted. It's molded. It's not. Those are pre-painted kits, not pre-molded kits. So keep that in mind. Painted, not molded in color. It's matte black. White pearl, orange pearl, and like we talked about before on those Aoshima pre-paints, they pre-paint the entire kit. Engine, transmission, well, it's not really transmission, technically speaking, in the Aventador, but engine, chassis, interior, window trim, everything is all pre-painted. Pretty much all you're going to do is glue it together, and ta-da, you're done kind of thing. And that's it, guys. And it's a pretty full month. I'm kind of interested to see what the 2016 is going to bring us, because we're sort of dwindling out of releases, even out of Aoshima. We've got the Sesto Elemento and the Sambar fire truck, and the two initial D kits, the R32 GTR and the I'm trying to think what the designation of that is, and I don't have one that's gonna say. It's one of the RX-7. It's not an FD3S because that's the second or the third generation, but the RX-7 for the initial D series that they're doing some minor parts content to, and that's pretty much all the kits that are left out of that. Hasegawa, hasn't announced any kits for 2016 yet. The one Heller kit that's still floating from for the year so far is that Ferguson tractor, the actual farm tractor. Tamiya, the Miata was the last thing they have announced. Revell, of course, we covered their first quarter flyer, but there's the Revell of Germany has the 250 short wheelbase Ferrari, but that's supposed to actually be out, I think, in the European side of things this month. Fujimi, you never know what they're going to do at any given time, other than the fact that they still have those Toyota vans that they talked about that they haven't done yet. And, NPC, AMT Round 2, they just sort of do their own thing as far as what they're going to reissue. You kind of get a spreadsheet of what we plan to do for the next 6 months, and then we see where they float into as far as releases go from that. I'm trying to think. I guess the next big thing will be our New Year's Eve, New Year's Day video that we're going to do that is separate from the actual January compilation video, and that will be for the Revell of Germany releases. They tend to do those at 12:01 a.m. German time, which is 7 o'clock here in the United States. So as soon as we find those things out, and as soon as we get the time to make the video, because, it's New Year's Eve. I'm not a big drinker and I don't go out, but it's still, it's New Year's Eve. And then I don't know when exactly we're due for another big hobby show, as far as, what's going on as far as that goes. We do have some stuff to talk about on the Friday show. Got a whole bunch of kit spot runs for January from Aoshima, and I just said I don't know what they're going to do, but they're all reissues of things that already exist, so it's not new stuff. I'm talking about brand new stuff. So, well, like I said, we have a couple of kit reissues. We have a couple of kit reissues to talk about from Aoshima for January. Some kits they're going to be doing for February as well that we found out about that they just announced on, I guess, be Tuesday. And then we've got, we got 2 or 3 kits that have come in at the end of the month. So we still have a Friday show, and I'm just sort of blathering on now because I really like. It's the beginning of the month. It's time to talk about January spot runs and what's Studio 27 going to do for December and stuff like that. And so chomping at the bit for information. So, the one other thing I saw, and we'll talk about it more on Friday, is that BMAX has released the box art for the TA65 Toyota Celica Safari rally car. So that one is getting very close to being ready to go as well. Probably won't make it out this month, I don't think, unless the kit is already done and the boxes just need to be printed. So, but it will probably be out, real close to the beginning of the year rather than, later on. So anyway, guys, I guess that's pretty much it. January 1st for the Revell of Germany releases, and then of course February for the Nuremberg Toy Fair, which will cover a little, all the European stuff. So I guess that's it. We'll see you guys on the other side.